So listen, there's a lot that's been discussed over the years. We've talked a little bit about the Mr. Perfect hokey pokey here at the end of 96 and
Mhm.
he wants to leave and blah, blah, blah. What I
Right.
had never heard was you were somehow in the middle of all this Lloyd's of London stuff. Can you tell us about this?
Yeah, it was in order to get Kurt cleared, and you had to have a release from Lloyd's of London. So Kurt was like, "No, I've got the release." Kurt never produced the release, so we asked Lloyd's of London, which is exactly what we did. But when we asked for Lloyd's of London, that opened up that, wait a minute, we paid you all this money, and now you're going to go back to do what you say you couldn't do, which is why we paid you the money. That's all it was.
Right.
And they were like, you killed our Lloyd's of London deal. Kurt, you told me to ask them ourselves. And the best part about it is it's true. I really didn't know that they had sent a letter. I believe it was Linda's office. It said it. This was the interim time that I was the talent
Okay.
relations head. Okay.
So JJ's
So I
fresh
had
out.
so I literally just stepped in and was sign this, and I did. But I knew about it. I knew about contacting Lloyd's of London for the permission to say that, yes, he is cleared and that he can do this, because we had notice from Lloyd's of London that he could not. So that's all that was. And I think that Kurt was looking at it like all of a sudden he was going to have to pay that money back, because Lloyd's of London was now aware. They weren't always aware of what was going on. You could collect and they go, okay, we paid him off, and not know that the guy was back, wrestling or playing football or whatever else that they may be insured for. The one guy, which I've always said, which always fascinated me, the one guy that probably legitimately could have done a claim with Lloyd's of London and never cashed in was Flair.
Right.
And just always fascinated me. But no, that's what that was all about.
So help me understand. We've heard a lot about Lloyd's of London as wrestling fans all these years. Are you suggesting that guys would go back and wrestle on TV and the company wouldn't notice or say anything, and they were just trying to ask forgiveness rather than permission?
Well, they did.
Okay. That's
I'm
amazing.
not suggesting. I'm saying that some guys did.
Like you've told us the fun little workaround that Animal somehow convinced them of.
Right.
That, well, if you're wrestling in a tag match,
right,
that's different. I can't wrestle a singles match. I'm too hurt.
But if I do work a singles match, I still have a tag team partner, so that's
My goodness.
Kurt cashed in 3 times, I believe, 2 or 3 times, at least twice, for definitely sure. I think it may have been 3 times.
So I understand it. That 350 is not you're going to get it every year in perpetuity. You get it one time.
I believe it's a one-time payoff. I'm not going to say for sure. I don't know.
That feels really short-sighted. I mean, you could have earned that in a year of wrestling. Like, goodness gracious. Well, we know he winds up leaving. The other thing I wanted to ask about, was it your experience that Kurt always handled his business with his dad? Because we've heard that a few times, that Larry and Kurt would come together.
No, not for this one time.
Okay.
To my knowledge, anyway.
Okay.
You might have. And, and the sad thing is, because I had a great relationship with Kurt. And, even after this, had a good relationship with Kurt. It's just, it was sad that, that it got nasty, for a little while. And when I say got nasty, that they had ill feelings.
Right.
Larry, man, always got along with Larry. I thought he was a great guy too. And this was just a complete, business disagreement where, okay, I want to come back, have to have the clearance from Lloyd's, ask for the clearance from Lloyd's. Why would you ask for the clearance from Lloyd's? Well, because you told me that you couldn't get it, that we needed to ask for it. And, next. So, but this was the only time in my history that I ever dealt with Larry.